The Fed15 podcast is presented by Serving Those Who Serve, a fiduciary, fee-based financial planning firm serving federal government employees and retirees all over the country. This podcast is for informational purposes only and is not intended to be taken as financial advice. All listeners should consult their personal advisors before taking any action. The opinions expressed by our hosts are their own and do not reflect the views, policies, or position of either Raymond James or Serving Those Who Serve. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Fed15. We are your hosts, as always, Katelyn Murray and the illustrious, fabulous, raven-clothed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. You'll turn my head. Well, as you can see, I'm decked out in black, so that means I got something to talk about today. But
it's a thing. Yeah, it's either Johnny Cash homage or Dan's got a rant for us.
I keep a close heart on this heart. I keep a close watch on this heart of mine. I keep my eyes wide open all the time.
Yep, for the feds. Love it. So as you guys know, we took a break last week. We had an in-person retreat actually at our office with the Serving Those Who Serve staff.
And I wanted to walk around with the camera and I got voted down. Okay. I'm just saying. But yes, you're right, Katelyn. We did have that.
We did. We had our in-person retreat with our team. It was great to circle the wagon, see everybody outside of their Zoom squares, which is always fun. But we are back this week with a jam-packed episode of News for Feds. This is definitely going to be one of those 15-ish episodes. I'm feeling it. But if you are just joining in with us, you do not know that we cover all of the news that is relevant for federal government employees and retirees in 15 minutes-ish or less. So we're going to go ahead and get started. We were talking about intro bits. And funny enough, one of the topics that we're going to cover today actually connects with one of my personal hobbies, which is Star Wars. If there are any Star Wars fans out there, then you know that the new Ahsoka series is currently airing on Disney+. And we had a crazy, so Star Wars fans will get this. We had a crazy episode last week. It was very intense. We saw some old characters brought back, which I know Star Wars kind of does that to death.
Ooh, but I just started my first episode, so...
Did you, of the Ahsoka series?
Yes.
Oh man, so it's a slow start, but it'll take off.
Okay, so that was slow?
Yes, it's a slow start, but it'll take off.
She's pretty BA.
She is. So that is my favorite. Dan, I don't even think you know this. So Ahsoka is my favorite Star Wars character of all time. She is amazing, but the problem is that she wasn't in any of the movies, so people only know her from Clone Wars and
Mando,
Star Wars Rebels. She was in a couple episodes of Mando. That's where we first see her in live action. But she was a huge main character in the Clone Wars and also Rebels. But those were animated series.
Right.
So most people thought they were for kids, but they are definitely not for kids. It's pretty cool. They get pretty deep into the whole, meaning of war thing and all that. So it's kind of neat. But You have a story that is going to connect with that.
Yes.
I would not have believed.
Yes, I do. But first, shutdowns? No! Come on, guys. Okay.
Yeah.
I literally, if you go back to the very first episode of the Fed Life podcast, I did my worst George Bush the First with read my lips, no more shutdowns. No, this makes no sense, and I'm not taking swings at anybody yet. Shutting down government is not a lever of power. It's just not. It was never built in to be that way. Okay? And this notion that if this doesn't happen, then we will do this. This is not an acceptable way to approach governance. Okay, late great Tip O'Neill always said, the best deal is the one where nobody's completely happy. So we need to get back to that, folks, and this just being an acceptable lever. Because we're looking at this without anything being done, no stopgaps. This is October 1st. We're in the shadow of it. And for heaven's sake, please, 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 can we have better angels prevail? Because Katelyn, help me out here. If half the board of directors of Microsoft, or better yet, Amazon, if half the board of directors of Amazon disagree with the other half, do they shut down Amazon Web Services and send all the warehouse people home? Do they do that?
Mm-mm.
No, they don't.
Not that I have heard.
No, they don't. Okay. So, folks, please. Now, on the plus side, Congressman Beyer and Senator Kaine have introduced the End Shutdowns Act. Okay. And it would automatically fund federal agencies if no spending bill is approved by the deadline. If that's what we got to do, that's what we got to do. Okay. We've done things like sequestration when we don't think we can agree to budget rules. So there's sequestration and that'll happen. Fine. Let's do this so that essential services of our central government continue for the taxpayers, and so that the dedicated men and women of federal service are not piñatas on this. It's got to stop. Okay.
I agree.
That's as far as I'm going to go on that. But also within our articles, we've got a couple of things as well. I don't know how this happened, but 45,000 postal employees didn't get a paycheck or only a partial one due to a payroll programming error. Let's not do that again. Mm-hmm. And then the last one, as you mentioned, Katelyn, I'm a space geek. People may not know that. When I first started working with feds, the very first agency I worked with was NASA, because I could just stay there listening to stories forever. You know, I would take road trips down to Langley Research Center to meet with feds. Some of the happiest times of my life. Fantastic. Love it. Space geek. Well, Katelyn, did you know that the military announced a digital tool for reporting UAPs, which are unidentified anomalous phenomena? And I had to go look that up. And then I got really excited because that's a UFO, Katelyn.
It is a UFO, but they had to change the letters just to kind of get it.
It's fine.
It's going to take me a long time to get UAP.
Yep, UAP.
Wow.
I'm already there. UAP. Rolls off my
instead
tongue.
of UFO. Wow.
Yes. But there's a digital tool for reporting it, and it says it's for military personnel, civilian feds, and contractors. Katelyn, can I have one? Can we get one here? Okay, I'll actually use it. I'll scan the skies. So
we're Fed adjacent. I think we could do it. I think we could build out a UAP branch of serving those who serve.
Yes, let's make that happen. You know,
I love it. I love it.
But pretty pleased with sugar on top. Okay, going back to our Congress, pass a stopgap, do something, pass an End Shutdowns Act. Do not take this out on the people doing the work. It's wrong. It's got to stop. So, Katelyn, what you got?
Great. Well, we also had, obviously shutdown news is kind of the big item out there. I do want to make sure that we don't lose sight, though, of some changes that we've had as a result of inflation. Obviously, we're kind of aware of cost of living adjustments. One thing that I want to bring folks' attention to is HSA contribution limit increases. So if you are not aware, HSA stands for Health Savings Account. It is for those who, both private sector and public sector, who are enrolled in a high deductible healthcare plan. So if you selected the high deductible healthcare plan under FEHB, then you are eligible to fund an HSA. HSAs are very cool. Dan knows that I'm obsessed with HSAs because they have triple tax benefits. Tax-free on the way in, tax-free growth, tax-free distributions for qualified healthcare expenses in retirement. And qualified healthcare expenses can be sunscreen. Sunscreen qualifies. So there's actually this really cool website called HSA Store where everything actually qualifies for HSA expenses in case you're looking for ways to spend those dollars.
I did not know that.
Yeah, HSA Store is very cool. They have a lot of interesting stuff on there. But the HSA contribution limits have been increased. So for 2023, we were working with $3,850 for those who have a single plan. And for those who have family health insurance coverage, the limit was $7,750. So we are looking at actually some pretty steep increases. Single folks in 2021 can put in $4,150 to their HSA. And those with family coverage can put in $8,300 to their HSA. Now, this is important for two reasons. One is saving to that HSA, different from an FSA. You can roll the funds in the plan over from year to year, and you can also invest those funds. So a lot of times I will call HSAs, my kind of nickname for them is healthcare Roth IRAs, because they are tax-free to you in retirement, and if you use them for qualified healthcare expenses. They're actually better than Roth, though, because you get the tax deduction on the way in as well. So certainly not a solution for everybody. Dan knows as well as probably all of our listeners now that my answer to most things financial planning, most questions to do with financial planning is it depends, because it may work for you, it may not work for you. If you have a lot of healthcare expenses, it might not be a great idea.
Now, Katelyn, if somebody wanted to talk to you about that, how would they go about doing that?
Yeah. So if you did want to talk to us about it, have a conversation about it, we do have a link in the description box below that you can click to see our scheduling calendar, contact us, have a conversation, because we definitely produce this podcast just for education, edutainment, as we call it. Hopefully you get a couple yucks with us, but we are not giving advice, and everybody should consult their financial advisor if you don't
Personal
have one.
advisor, yep.
We're happy to have a conversation. But definitely take a look at those HSA contribution limits. If that's not a benefit that you're taking advantage of, it could be very beneficial. It could be a good thing to look into. Typically, good idea for folks that don't have a ton of medical expenses at present, who can kind of defer some of that income to an HSA for tomorrow, kind of put it away for a rainy day. So again, limits for 2024, $4,150 if you have single coverage, $8,300 if you have family coverage. So significant jump up.
Yep.
And then the other thing, you guys know we like to stay on top of TSP returns. It is somehow the month of September 2023. I don't know what happened or where the year went, but we do have numbers in for August performance for the TSP for August. Historically calm month, fairly chill month in the markets. Not a great month for TSP funds though. Year-to-date returns are still pretty strong, but the monthly returns for August were a little lackluster. So C Fund had a negative return, negative 1.58%. S Fund had a negative return, negative 4.06%. I Fund, we're looking at negative 3.9%. F Fund, as well as fixed income, kind of battles its way back from that double mare market that we experienced in 2022. We've got a return of negative 0.63% there. G Fund, holding fairly steady, 0.35% return. Year-to-date numbers, though, are much, much more encouraging. Year-to-date C Fund is up 18.71%. S Fund is returning 14.45%. I Fund is returning just shy of 11% with 10.83%. F Fund is around 1.53%, and the G Fund is year-to-date 2.62%. So we're still looking good overall. We provide these monthly returns for information purposes, but you should never be measuring the success or failure of your TSP strategy just within a month of performance. So definitely want to take that with a grain of salt.
Couldn't agree with you more on that. Well, does that cover what we have, Katelyn? I think it covers what we have.
I think we did today. Somehow, Dan. We managed. Yeah. We hit Star Wars. We hit UFOs. Now UAPs. You'll never pry UFO from my cold dead hands.
UAP.
And we talked about government shutdowns, TSP returns, and HSA contribution limits. We're getting good at this 15 minutes thing.
Absolutely. I'm going to mess it up now because here's the other thing. I'm a NASA geek. Yeah. Okay, I should have had a jetpack by now. I should have had a jetpack. That's all I'm going to say. I remember dreaming my way through that. So NASA, don't forget me. Elon, Jeff, I don't care. Somebody, I need a jetpack.
We already have the prototype. Mandalorians. They've all got jetpacks. And
it is the way.
It is.
So that's all the time we have for today, folks. We will be back next week to bring you all the latest updates you need to make informed decisions about your career and financial well-being as a Fed.
Absolutely. And be sure that you subscribe to our podcast so you never miss an episode on our YouTube channel, Fed Life. You can also find us on Spotify so that you never, ever miss out on this important Fed related information. And please do remember to share our show with your friends and colleagues. It is the number one thing that you can do to help us out, help spread the word, and help Feds get access to unbiased education around their benefits and retirement planning.
Yep, and an occasional humorous rant. For more information on the topics we covered today and more, be sure to check out our blog at blog.stwserve.com. Subscribe to the newsletter, The Weekly Serving, and get all the latest news delivered straight to your inbox. You don't even have to go looking for it.
Exactly. And for those who want to dive even deeper into learning about your federal benefits and financial planning for feds, we encourage you to join us for one of our complimentary webinars. Yes, they are free. We have a FERS pension webinar coming up on October 4th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. We've also got a tax planning webinar coming up on October 12th from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. I would really encourage it. If you haven't attended one of our tax planning webinars before, do take a look at that. It is a really, really useful webinar to kind of help feds optimize their tax planning there. A lot of really smart stuff. Or if you prefer a one-on-one approach, feel free to reach out to our team directly for a financial planning consultation. You can email us at askstws@stwserve.com, or you can go down to the description box if you're joining us on YouTube and just click the link there to reach out to us regarding that. We'd be happy to help.
Yes, and you just never know who you might meet.
You never know.
You just never know.
I hear that there's a mysterious man in black running around
who sometimes breaks containment. They lose track of them.
Yeah, skating the skies.
Alrighty, folks. Thanks for listening to Fed15. I'm Dan Sipe.
And I am Katelyn Murray.
And we will see you next week.
See you next week, guys. Take care.